The galaxy had always been a place of endless activity. Star systems buzzed with energy, trade routes were busy, and alien civilizations constantly sent messages across the stars. Wars happened, alliances formed, and secrets were hidden in the dark corners of space. But now, for the first time in centuries, a strange silence had spread across the galaxy. A silence so deep that even the most advanced alien civilizations felt an uneasy chill. No one knew why. Communication networks went dead at the same time, across dozens of planets. Signals that once carried news, commands, and warnings simply stopped. Ships in the middle of missions froze in space as their pilots tried desperately to reconnect. Traders could not contact their stations. Military fleets waited, scanning the darkness for any sign of life. The entire galaxy held its breath. On one of the largest alien planets, the Council of Warlords sat in their massive chamber. Their heads, covered in shimmering helmets, turned in confusion as screens blinked with red alerts. The message repeated over and over. Unknown human ship detected. The words seemed impossible. Humans, they thought, were primitive. Their technology was slow, limited, and far behind most civilizations. What could a single human ship do in a galaxy filled with warlords, fleets, and deadly weapons? Yet the alert was clear. Sensors had detected something massive moving through the outer edge of their territory. A silhouette so large that it blocked the stars behind it. On distant planets, the same scene repeated. Leaders and commanders stared at their screens, mouths open, unable to speak. The unknown ship was not just appearing in one place, it was being detected at multiple points, as if it moved faster than any scanner could track. The Hyperion cruiser. That was the name now whispered in the halls of alien power. It was not like any ship they had ever seen. Its hull gleamed with an almost blinding light, reflecting the stars around it. Its shape was elegant but menacing, designed to cut through space like a predator through the void. Its size alone was intimidating. Dozens of alien ships combined could not match its mass. And yet, despite its size, there was an uncanny feeling that it moved with intelligence. Not random movements but calculated, precise, purposeful. Alien fleets were scrambled. Fighters, cruisers, and massive warships raced to intercept the Hyperion cruiser. Orders were shouted and commands fired across the networks, but nothing seemed to reach it. The ship did not respond to hails. It did not change course. It simply moved as if it already knew what would happen, already 2 steps ahead of every plan the aliens had. In the observation decks of alien command centers, commanders whispered in fear. It cannot be. Humans cannot have a ship like this. Others shook their heads. Maybe it is a trap. Maybe they have stolen technology from another species. But even those theories did not explain the sheer confidence of the ship's movement. Hyperion seemed alive, a single mind in a mechanical body, watching, calculating, waiting. Back on Earth, inside the Hyperion cruiser, humans were calm. They had expected this reaction. Scientists monitored alien sensors, military officers adjusted trajectories, and the ship itself hummed with quiet power. To humans it was just another mission. But to the galaxy it was something entirely new. Something dangerous. Something no one could predict. The Hyperion cruiser did not attack immediately. It did not fire a single weapon. It simply moved through the darkness, its massive engines leaving trails of light that shimmered like comets. Its presence alone was enough to spread panic. Alien fleets hesitated. Ships that had never seen defeat paused. The air, or rather the vacuum of space, was tense. Reports began to spread among alien leaders. Word of the Hyperion cruiser traveled faster than the fastest ships. Across the galaxy, from the smallest mining colonies to the largest military stations, everyone whispered the same name, Hyperion. Fear spread not because it had fired its weapons, but because of what it represented. A human ship, yes, but more than that. Humanity itself had reached a level no one had imagined. And then came the silence. A silence so complete that even the hum of distant stars seemed muffled. Alien leaders watched, frozen, as the Hyperion cruiser moved on its path, untouched and unstoppable. Nobody dared make the first move. Nobody dared challenge it. Even the most confident warlords found themselves holding their breath, wondering what this single human ship could do. And in that silence, in that moment of frozen time, one thought passed through every mind in the galaxy. No one knew what humanity had unleashed. It was a thought that would haunt the galaxy for weeks, months, and perhaps years. For now, all anyone could do was wait. Wait and watch the Hyperion cruiser move through the stars. Wait and wonder if any ship, any fleet, any civilization could ever stop it. Because this was not just a ship. It was the beginning of a new era. and the galaxy would never be the same again. The Hyperion cruiser moved silently through the outer edges of the Orion sector. Its massive hull reflected distant stars, creating a glowing shadow that seemed to swallow the emptiness of space. Every alien fleet that tried to track it found only confusion. Sensors could detect it, but predicting its movements was impossible. The Hyperion did not follow simple patterns. It moved like a chess player thinking 10 steps ahead. Alien commanders had never seen anything like it. Hundreds of warships gathered, forming the largest fleet the sector had ever seen. They believed sheer numbers would be enough to stop it. But as they approached, the Hyperion did not retreat. It did not hide. It continued on its calculated path, showing no fear, no hesitation. It was as if the ship itself understood the alien strategy better than the aliens themselves. Inside the alien command bridges, panic started to grow. "Why isn't it responding?" one commander shouted, his voice trembling. "It should be afraid. Humans cannot match this fleet." Another voice answered, calm but tense. "It is not just a ship. It is a weapon, and a mind. It moves with intelligence, not instinct." Meanwhile, aboard the Hyperion, the human crew worked with quiet focus. Captain Elena Drake stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning multiple screens showing alien fleet positions, energy readings, and star maps. Every move they made was precise. Every decision was calculated. The crew did not panic. They had trained for this moment. They had built Hyperion not to hide, not to run, but to dominate. "Bring us within striking distance of the second fleet," Elena ordered. "I want them to see us clearly, let them realize their mistake." The Hyperion cruiser glided closer to the alien forces, its massive engines lighting up space like a river of silver fire. Alien ships scrambled to form defensive lines, sending warnings and opening fire. Lasers and energy pulses cut through the darkness, but Hyperion seemed untouchable. Its shields absorbed every attack without a scratch, and its movements made it almost impossible to hit. The alien warlords could not understand it. Their best pilots failed to intercept the cruiser. Their fleets were in chaos. Some tried to flank it, others to block its path, but Hyperion effortlessly avoided every trap. It was not only fast but smart. Every maneuver was calculated to outthink the enemy, not just overpower them. A low murmur of fear spread among the alien fleets. "We underestimated them," one alien muttered, its voice trembling. "Humans, they are not what we thought." Human scientists on the Hyperion monitored alien communication channels. They listened as warlords shouted orders and pilots screamed in confusion. Every mistake the aliens made was noted and used. The Hyperion was not attacking yet, but it was already winning. Its presence alone created chaos. The aliens had no plan to deal with something so advanced, so unpredictable. "Prepare the drones," Elena said quietly, almost to herself. "We will not waste time when the moment comes." The alien leaders were still debating their strategy, sending fleets in every direction. But Hyperion moved calmly, almost leisurely, weaving through the chaos. Its stealth drones, small and invisible to most scanners, began to position themselves around the enemy ships. No weapons fired yet. No destruction had started. And yet, panic had already taken hold. One of the alien warlords finally spoke, his voice filled with anger and fear. "This is impossible. Humans are primitive. How can one ship do this?" Another replied, "It is not primitive, it is something new. Something we do not understand. And if we do not act carefully, it will destroy everything." The Hyperion continued its path through the Orion sector, showing the galaxy what humanity had built. It was a demonstration, not an attack. Every movement sent a clear message. Humanity was no longer small, no longer defenseless, and no longer predictable. Alien fleets could do nothing but watch, frozen by the sheer audacity and power of the cruiser. Back on Earth, the news of the Hyperion's journey through space caused excitement and pride. Scientists and engineers watched the live feed with a mixture of awe and satisfaction. The ship they had spent years designing was now proving its worth. It was more than just a warship. It was a symbol of human ingenuity, courage, and determination. The tension in the galaxy reached a peak as Hyperion approached the heart of the sector. The largest alien fleet waited, believing this would be the final test. The moment was perfect. Hyperion slowed just enough for the aliens to see every detail. The gleaming hull, the energy shields, the drones moving silently around it. They could now understand one terrifying truth. This was no ordinary ship. It was the beginning of a new era in galactic warfare. And in that silence, in that moment of frozen anticipation, the galaxy realized something profound. Hyperion was not here to fight carelessly. It was here to change everything. And whatever came next, humanity would be the one leading the way. The aliens had underestimated humans for centuries. They had mocked them, ignored them, and dismissed them. But now they were learning a painful lesson. The Hyperion cruiser was the proof that humans were no longer just survivors. They were innovators. They were warriors. And they were unstoppable. As the Hyperion moved closer to the largest alien fleet, its engines glowing softly, one thought spread across every mind watching from the alien command centers. This is the moment the galaxy will never forget. The Hyperion cruiser moved steadily through the outer reaches of alien space. To any observer, it seemed almost calm, as if it were merely passing through the stars. But inside the ship, a storm of calculations and strategy was unfolding. Every screen, every monitor, every holographic display on the bridge flickered with data. Hundreds of alien ships were tracked simultaneously. Every movement, every energy pulse, every communication signal was analyzed in real time. Captain Elena Drake stood at the center of the bridge, her eyes scanning the shifting positions of enemy fleets. Her expression was calm, but her mind raced. The humans had not come to fight blindly. Every maneuver Hyperion made was part of a larger plan, one that the galaxy could not yet understand. "Status report," Elena commanded. Lieutenant Ramos, the ship's tactical officer, quickly responded. "The fleets are converging from 3 sectors. Their formations are unstable. They are trying to surround us, but we are anticipating every movement." Elena nodded. "Good. Begin drone deployment. Keep them hidden until the final moment." The Hyperion cruiser's stealth drones slipped out silently into space. They were small, fast, and invisible to most alien sensors. Each drone moved to a position that would allow Hyperion to strike with perfect precision. Yet, the enemy had no idea these drones even existed. To them, the human ship seemed alone and vulnerable, but in reality, it was a fortress filled with tools of war and intelligence. Alien commanders were growing frantic. "How is it avoiding all our attacks?" one shouted. "We have 100 ships. This should be easy." Another commander, more experienced, spoke in a low, fearful voice. "It is not just a ship. It is thinking faster than we can. Every time we move, it has already moved 2 steps ahead. We are trapped in its plan." Back on Hyperion, the human crew remained focused. Engineers monitored the energy shields, adjusting power levels to absorb attacks before the aliens could even notice. Scientists analyzed enemy weapons in real time, predicting the next strike before it occurred. Every human on the ship was part of a carefully coordinated effort. "Targeting data ready," Lieutenant Ramos announced. "We can neutralize key ships in minutes without risking collateral damage." Elena smiled faintly. "Perfect. Wait for my signal. We strike together, not in pieces." The alien fleets continued to attack blindly, firing massive energy blasts into empty space. The Hyperion shifted effortlessly, avoiding the most dangerous attacks. Alien pilots began to doubt themselves. Some stopped moving, unsure of how to approach this strange human vessel. Their confidence, once unshakable, had begun to crumble. "Hyperion is more than a warship," Elena said quietly to her officers. "It is a symbol. We are showing the galaxy what humans can do when they fight with intelligence instead of brute force." Meanwhile, the stealth drones spread through the enemy lines. They scanned ships, relayed energy patterns, and prepared to disable critical systems at the perfect moment. The humans were not destroying the alien fleets yet. They were shaping the battlefield, setting traps that would make victory almost inevitable. Alien leaders debated furiously. "We need to attack the cruiser head-on," one cried. "No," another countered. "If we do, we will fall into its trap. It is controlling everything. We cannot win." Inside the Hyperion, Elena monitored the alien discussion via intercepted communications. She allowed herself a small smile. Every second the aliens wasted arguing, every second they hesitated, gave Hyperion a stronger advantage. The strategy was simple but deadly. Hyperion would wait for the aliens to make their mistakes. Then, in a single coordinated strike, the human ship and its hidden drones would disable the enemy fleet's most powerful ships before the aliens could react. By the time they realized what had happened, their forces would be in chaos. "Captain," Lieutenant Ramos said, his voice tense but controlled. "They are tightening their formations. The moment is approaching." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Good. Let them think they are in control. Let them feel confident. That is when we strike." The alien fleets could sense a shift in the cruiser's behavior. Hyperion moved slightly closer, almost imperceptibly, as if preparing for something. The aliens felt a strange pressure, a growing unease that they could not explain. Some ships tried to break formation, only to find themselves blocked by unseen forces. Hyperion's influence was everywhere, though the enemy could see nothing. Then, in a calm but commanding voice, Elena gave the order. Deploy drones. Begin strike pattern Alpha. Hundreds of stealth drones moved instantly, targeting alien weapon systems, navigation controls and energy grids. Alien ships screamed in alarm as systems failed without warning. Fleet commanders shouted orders that were too late. Energy shields collapsed, engines failed, and entire formations were thrown into chaos. Hyperion had not fired a single visible weapon yet. The battle was already won. From the observation decks of alien command centers, commanders stared in disbelief. How is this possible? One muttered. We are being destroyed before the fight even begins. Elena watched silently as the enemy fleet crumbled. She knew this was only the beginning. The Hyperion cruiser was more than a weapon. It was proof that humans could outthink, outmaneuver, and outfight any alien species in the galaxy. In the darkness of space, the Hyperion moved with quiet authority, its massive engines casting a soft glow across the wreckage of the enemy fleet. The humans aboard knew that strategy, intelligence, and patience had won the first true test of galactic warfare. The aliens had underestimated them, and the lesson had been delivered. And in the galaxy, a single truth began to echo in every corner. Humanity was no longer weak. Humanity was clever, dangerous, and unstoppable. And the Hyperion cruiser was the living proof of that. The Hyperion cruiser glided silently through space, its massive silhouette dominating the void. From a distance, it seemed calm, almost peaceful. But inside, the human crew prepared for the moment that would change the galaxy forever. Every weapon system was ready. Every stealth drone was in position. Every human aboard the ship knew the plan, and every movement was perfectly synchronized. Captain Elena Drake stood on the bridge, her eyes focused on the alien fleets that were still struggling to regroup after Hyperion's unseen maneuvers. Hundreds of alien ships, from massive cruisers to small attack fighters, floated in space, confused and terrified. They had underestimated humans and now their confidence was crumbling. Report, Elena said, her voice calm but commanding. Lieutenant Ramos turned to her, a hint of excitement in his voice. All stealth drones are in position. Energy weapons are ready. Targeting arrays calibrated. We can strike at any moment and hit multiple fleets simultaneously. Elena nodded. Good. Remember, precision is key. We strike only the most dangerous ships first. Let them feel the impact, then we escalate. The alien commanders on the observation decks of their fleets had no idea what was about to happen. They were still debating their next moves, shouting orders, and trying desperately to reorganize. But Hyperion had already anticipated every possible action. Every fleet, every formation, every escape route was accounted for. The humans did not need brute force, they had intelligence, planning, and strategy on their side. Then, with a subtle signal from Elena, the first wave of stealth drones moved. They darted silently through space, invisible to alien sensors. In seconds, energy grids on the largest cruisers failed. Engines sputtered and died. Weapon systems shut down mid-charge. Alien pilots screamed in confusion as their ships lost power, spinning helplessly through the void. From the Hyperion's bridge, the human crew watched in quiet satisfaction. The aliens had no idea what had struck them. To them, it seemed as if the galaxy itself had turned against them. Target the second fleet, Elena ordered. Use the drones to disable their command ships. We need them leaderless before the main strike. Stealth drones swarmed the command vessels, cutting communications, disabling shields, and leaving the alien warlords powerless. Panic spread quickly among the remaining fleets. Without leadership, formations collapsed. Fighters collided with one another. Cruisers drifted into asteroid fields. The aliens had thought numbers would save them, but they had no idea that one human ship, with clever planning, could control the battlefield entirely. Finally, Elena gave the order for Hyperion to reveal its full power. Energy cannons on the cruiser ignited, casting brilliant arcs of blue light across space. Alien ships tried to evade, but the Hyperion had already predicted their movements. Beams of concentrated energy sliced through the darkness, hitting the most critical targets. Explosions lit up space, throwing debris in every direction. The sounds of destruction, though silent in space, were clear in the minds of those who watched. Complete chaos. The alien fleets attempted to retaliate, firing all their weapons at Hyperion. Energy blasts and missiles streaked toward the massive ship, but every attack was anticipated. Hyperion moved with precision, its shields absorbing the hits effortlessly. For every alien strike, Hyperion had a counter, a maneuver that left the attackers frustrated and powerless. On the bridge, Elena watched the destruction with a mix of focus and pride. "Remember," she reminded her crew, "we are not here to annihilate without purpose. We strike to show power, intelligence, and precision. We fight smart, not reckless." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, sensors and communication systems recorded the unprecedented scene. Reports spread from planet to planet. A single human ship has destroyed entire fleets. No other civilization has this technology. Alien leaders began to realize the terrifying truth: humans were no longer weak. They were not only capable of surviving but dominating, not through brute force alone, but through intelligence and planning that no one could match. The Hyperion continued its strike. Drones moved from ship to ship, disabling weapons, engines, and shields. Energy cannons fired with devastating precision, taking out the largest cruisers and leaving smaller ships in disarray. The alien fleets, once confident, were now shattered, leaderless, and panicked. They had thought they faced only humans, but Hyperion was more than human technology. It was the embodiment of human strategy, discipline, and vision. The first strike ended as Hyperion drifted silently through the wreckage. Ships were destroyed, disabled, and scattered across space. Alien survivors floated aimlessly, their morale shattered. The galaxy had witnessed something that would be remembered for centuries. A single human ship had struck fear, chaos, and awe into the hearts of civilizations that once considered humans insignificant. Elena allowed herself a moment to breathe. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "The galaxy will know what humanity is capable of." And in that moment, as Hyperion's engines glowed against the void, a message began to spread silently across the remaining alien fleets. Humanity is no longer a minor power. Humanity is a force that cannot be ignored. The Hyperion cruiser had not only won its first battle, it had changed the balance of power forever. It had shown that intelligence, strategy, and courage could triumph over numbers and fear. And the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The galaxy was in chaos. Alien fleets that once ruled entire sectors now drifted aimlessly among the stars. Survivors whispered of the human ship that had shattered their confidence and fleets with unprecedented precision. The Hyperion cruiser was no longer just a ship, it was a symbol. A symbol of human ingenuity, courage, and determination. And across alien worlds, panic spread like wildfire. On the bridge of one of the largest alien command stations, warlords gathered in urgent council. Screens showed the wreckage left by Hyperion, ships torn apart or disabled in seconds. Leaders shouted orders, but confusion reigned. Every strategy they devised had already been anticipated by the humans. Every movement they made seemed to play into Hyperion's plan. "We need reinforcements," one commander screamed. "Send the fleets from the outer sectors." Another, calmer but fearful, replied, "It won't matter. Hyperion is already everywhere. It controls the battlefield before we can even move." The alien leaders argued fiercely. Some wanted to retreat, others wanted to counterattack, but no one could agree. Fear had shattered their unity. For centuries, alien empires had considered themselves the supreme power in the galaxy. And now they faced a species they had underestimated, a species capable of turning entire battles without risking a single life unnecessarily. Meanwhile, the Hyperion cruiser moved silently through the sector. It did not chase every fleeing ship, nor did it destroy everything in sight. Humans did not fight recklessly. Their goal was not destruction but dominance through intelligence and precision. Hyperion positioned itself strategically, maintaining control of key star routes, cutting off escape paths, and subtly influencing the movements of remaining alien fleets. Inside the cruiser, Captain Elena Drake observed the chaos with quiet satisfaction. "They think they can outmaneuver us," she said softly to her officers. "But every move they make is part of the plan. We are teaching them a lesson they will never forget." Lieutenant Ramos monitored alien communication channels. "Their warlords are arguing again," he said. "Some fleets want to surrender, others want to fight to the last ship. They are completely disorganized." Elena nodded. "Good. Confusion is our ally. Keep them guessing. Never let them see the full strength of Hyperion until the final moment." Across the galaxy, stories of the Hyperion cruiser spread like wildfire. Traders, miners, and diplomats carried reports of the human ship's power. The message was clear: humans were no longer a minor species. They were a force capable of reshaping the balance of power. Entire sectors began to reconsider their strategies and alliances. Fear of humanity became a central concern for every empire, no matter how large or small. On a distant planet, an alien warlord addressed his council. We underestimated them. We mocked their primitive ships. We laughed at their small fleets. And now, they control the battlefield with one ship. How is this possible? Another council member spoke, voice shaking. We cannot fight them conventionally. Their intelligence, their strategy, their technology, it is unlike anything we have ever faced. We must retreat and regroup. But retreat was no longer an option. Hyperion had already positioned itself in key locations, controlling the star routes and limiting escape paths. The aliens had been forced into a position they could not easily escape. And still, the humans aboard the cruiser did not panic. They were calm, focused, and ready to strike again if necessary. Prepare for the next phase, Elena said. We will show them that intelligence wins where brute force fails. We fight smart, not with sheer numbers. As the alien fleet struggled, a message broadcast silently from Hyperion reached selected stations across the galaxy. It was not aggressive, but it carried undeniable power. We do not seek war. We seek peace. But we will defend our people, our worlds, and our future. Humanity is ready to claim its place among the stars. The message caused further panic among alien leaders. They had expected humans to be weak, to retreat when faced with overwhelming power. Instead, they had encountered a species that fought not only with advanced weapons but with intelligence, strategy, and courage beyond imagination. Back on Hyperion, the human crew prepared for any remaining resistance. Drones were in position, energy cannons ready, and shields fully charged. But for now they did not need to act. The aliens were already in disarray, their fleets scattered, their morale broken. The first strike had demonstrated the power of humans, but the true turning point was now, the moment when the galaxy realized that humanity could not be ignored. Across alien worlds, discussions began among those who had survived. We cannot underestimate them again, one commander said quietly. If we do, the next battle will destroy everything we hold dear. Another replied, we must learn from them. Study them. Perhaps we can survive, but we cannot fight them the same way we fought others. Elena watched the reports from Hyperion sensors, noting every reaction, every shift in fleet positions. She knew that the galaxy's perception of humanity had changed forever. Humans were no longer a minor power, they were innovators, strategists, and warriors capable of outthinking anyone. And in that moment, the galaxy understood a truth that would echo for centuries. The Hyperion cruiser had not only defeated alien fleets, it had reshaped the balance of power. The turning point was clear. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never underestimate it again. The Hyperion cruiser drifted silently through space, its presence alone enough to command respect, fear, and awe. The first strike had proven human superiority in intelligence and strategy. The turning point had come, and the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Across star systems, alien fleets drifted in confusion, crippled and leaderless. The Hyperion cruiser moved through the void with silent authority, its massive engines glowing like a river of silver light against the darkness of space. It did not fire indiscriminately. It did not destroy everything in its path. Instead, it projected power, calculated, precise, unstoppable. Alien commanders could only watch in disbelief. It cannot be real, one muttered, voice trembling. One human ship, controlling the battlefield like this? Another, older and more experienced, shook his head. It is not just controlling the battlefield, it is controlling our minds. Our strategies fail before we even act. Humanity, they are more than we imagined. From its hidden command chambers, the Hyperion cruiser's crew observed every reaction. Captain Elena Drake stood quietly on the bridge, her eyes scanning the galaxy-wide map of fleets. Every alien movement, every attempt to regroup, was anticipated. The humans were not rushing into combat, they were demonstrating power, intelligence, and dominance without firing a single shot unnecessarily. Lieutenant Ramos, monitoring alien communications, reported, "They're panicking. Warlords are debating whether to retreat, surrender, or attack. Some fleets are refusing orders entirely. They don't know what to do." Elena nodded. "Exactly as planned. Confusion is our ally. Let them realize the scale of human capability before we even strike again." The Hyperion's presence alone was having an effect far beyond the immediate sector. Across the galaxy, news of the cruiser spread quickly. Traders, miners, and diplomats shared reports of a single human ship that had reshaped entire battles. Communication channels buzzed with disbelief and fear. Humans? A single ship? Alien species that had dismissed humans as weak and primitive now questioned everything they thought they knew. On one of the more technologically advanced planets, a council of warlords watched live data from the Hyperion strike. The largest fleet in their sector had been rendered useless in minutes, and no clear explanation existed. "We cannot fight them as we fought others," one council member said. "They do not act like ordinary species. Every move is precise. Every action calculated. This is not brute force, it is strategy beyond our comprehension." Another replied, voice shaking, "They are superior in every way. Technology, planning, coordination, even courage. We have no answer. We are outmatched." Meanwhile, the Hyperion cruiser advanced slowly, demonstrating restraint. It did not pursue every fleeing vessel. It did not annihilate survivors unnecessarily. Humanity's goal was clear: not mindless destruction, but a demonstration of dominance, intelligence, and strategic superiority. Each movement, each calculated display of power, sent a clear message across the stars. Do not underestimate humans. On board Hyperion, Elena addressed her crew. "Remember, what we are doing is more than winning a battle. We are showing the galaxy that humans are capable of far more than anyone expected. Every decision, every maneuver must reflect precision and intelligence. Let them feel our presence, and let them understand it is only the beginning." The alien fleets tried to regroup, forming tight defensive lines. They sent urgent messages to distant empires, begging for reinforcements and guidance. But it was too late. The Hyperion had already demonstrated what a single well-prepared human ship could do. Alien leaders could only react, and every reaction had already been anticipated. Stealth drones from the Hyperion moved silently among the fleets. They did not attack immediately, but their presence was enough to cause further panic. Alien ships misfired, collided, and lost coordination. Every move they attempted seemed doomed to fail. Humans had turned the battlefield into a calculated chessboard, and the aliens were the pawns struggling to escape. Finally, the Hyperion broadcast a message across multiple communication channels. It was not aggressive, but it carried immense weight. "We do not seek war, but we will defend our worlds. Humanity is no longer a minor power. We are here to claim our place among the stars. Those who choose to fight us will see the full strength of our determination and intelligence." The message spread instantly. Alien populations listened with fear, respect, and disbelief. Entire fleets hesitated, unable to decide whether to comply, retreat, or risk confrontation. The Hyperion cruiser had achieved more than physical dominance. It had created psychological shock. The galaxy had never encountered a species that could wield power so intelligently, so efficiently, and so terrifyingly. In the darkness of space, Hyperion drifted calmly. The galaxy's remaining fleets remained scattered, leaderless, and wary. Alien commanders debated furiously, trying to understand what had happened and how they could survive future encounters with humanity. The cruiser's presence alone commanded obedience without firing a shot, turning fear into a universal language across the stars. Elena allowed herself a moment to reflect. "The galaxy has learned a lesson," she said quietly to her crew. "Humans are not weak. We are not defenseless. And now the universe knows it." The Hyperion cruiser did not need to destroy more ships to make its point. Its strategic dominance, technological superiority, and psychological impact had already achieved the goal. The shock and awe was complete. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's arrival as a force that could not be ignored. From the edge of the Orion sector to the distant colonies, alien leaders whispered the same name with fear and respect: Hyperion. And humanity's reputation had grown, not through reckless fighting, but through intelligence, precision, and the quiet demonstration of power. The Hyperion cruiser continued its journey through the stars, a shining symbol of human ingenuity. And the galaxy, once confident in its supremacy, now knew a chilling truth: underestimating humans would be the greatest mistake any civilization could ever make. The galaxy would never forget the name Hyperion. Across star systems, from the most remote colonies to the largest alien empires, whispers of the human ship echoed like a warning: never underestimate humanity. The cruiser had moved silently, struck precisely, and demonstrated an intelligence and power that no one could challenge directly. It had not only defeated fleets, it had reshaped the perception of humans forever. On the bridge of Hyperion, Captain Elena Drake watched the reports coming in from across the galaxy. Alien fleets had begun retreating to regroup, but the fear was clear in every report. For centuries, humanity had been underestimated, dismissed as a minor species, incapable of shaping galactic events. Now that assumption had been shattered. Lieutenant Ramos approached Elena with a mixture of awe and excitement. "Captain, the reports are overwhelming. Every major fleet that engaged us, they're scattered, confused, leaderless. Entire empires are questioning their previous strategies. Humanity is being taken seriously for the first time in history." Elena nodded. "Good. But this is just the beginning. The galaxy has seen our strength, but it must understand our purpose. Hyperion is not just a weapon, it is a symbol of what humans can achieve when we combine intelligence, courage, and determination." Far across the galaxy, alien leaders debated furiously. Some fleets were already sending messages of surrender or diplomacy, hoping to avoid further confrontation. Others tried desperately to regroup, hoping to understand how a single ship could cause such widespread fear and destruction. None of them could answer the question, how did humans achieve this? The Hyperion cruiser continued its journey through space, its engines leaving trails of light that shimmered like comets against the darkness. It moved with purpose, not recklessly. Every course adjustment was deliberate. Every movement sent a message. Humanity was no longer hidden, no longer small, no longer a species to be dismissed. On some planets, alien populations gathered around communication stations, listening to news of Hyperion's journey. Fear and awe were mixed in equal measure. "They are different," one alien whispered. "They do not fight like others. Their strategy, their precision, it is terrifying." And it was true. Hyperion had not fought with numbers or brute force. It had fought with intelligence, calculation, and vision. Every move had been anticipated. Every action had been deliberate. The cruiser had shown that humanity could outthink, outmaneuver, and outfight even the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Inside Hyperion, the crew maintained their focus. Engineers monitored energy systems, scientists observed enemy movements, and officers planned the next course of action. There was no pride or arrogance, only discipline, focus, and awareness. They understood the weight of what they had accomplished. Humanity's reputation had changed, and the cruiser was the vessel of that transformation. Elena addressed the crew. "Remember this," she said, her voice steady. "Hyperion is not just our ship. It is the legacy of every human who dared to dream, who worked, who built, and who refused to accept limits. The galaxy now knows the truth. Humans are a force to be reckoned with." In distant empires, alien warlords and strategists studied the events, realizing that their previous assumptions about humans had been catastrophically wrong. Alliances were reconsidered, strategies rewritten, and fleets reorganized. Humanity's place in the galaxy had grown overnight. Hyperion had not only fought battles, it had changed the future. Reports reached Earth from deep space colonies. Citizens, scientists, and leaders alike celebrated the success. Hyperion was hailed not just as a warship, but as a symbol of human potential. Humanity had arrived in the galaxy with a statement. "We are here, we are capable, and we will not be ignored." Back on Hyperion, Elena looked out at the endless expanse of stars. The cruiser had proven its worth, but she knew the journey was far from over. "We have shown them who we are," she said softly. "But now the galaxy must learn to respect what humans can achieve. Our strength lies not only in our technology but in our ability to think, to plan, and to act when others cannot." As Hyperion moved onward, alien leaders and populations alike whispered the name with a mixture of fear and respect. Hyperion. Humanity. The two had become inseparable in their minds. A single ship, representing an entire species, had forever altered the perception of power in the galaxy. The legend of Hyperion would endure for generations. Scholars would write about it. Strategists would study its tactics. Pilots would tremble at its name. Humanity had proven that intelligence, strategy, and courage could achieve what brute force alone could not. And as Hyperion drifted further into the darkness, its lights glowing like distant stars, one truth became clear across the galaxy. The Hyperion cruiser did not just fight battles, it changed the course of history. Humanity was no longer hidden. Humanity was no longer weak. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The cruiser continued its silent journey, leaving behind not just wreckage and victory, but a legacy, a reminder to every civilization that humans had arrived, and they were ready to shape the future among the stars.